gift is a seed. You can easily be the change that we need. Keep your mind alert and your heart with peace. Be the change that we want to see. Yeah, go and share your gift. Yeah, your gift is a seed. You can easily be the change that we need. Keep your mind alert and fill your heart with peace. Be the change that we want to see.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Mentality Unchained. I am Dr. Kevin Thomas, your neighborhood therapist. Thank you for joining me. You know, I'm always intrigued by a person's journey. And so today is no different. We're going to take a peek at a person's journey that I really don't know, though. But I want to get to know him. I've heard of him. He's done some work throughout our city. But this young man is a award-winning private chef. 13 years he's cooked and planned events for President Obama, Tom Cruise, Rihanna, Michelle Williams, Halle Berry, Nancy Pelosi, and he's worked at some of the most prestigious hotels in Vegas. And his favorite mantra, I like this when I seen this, he says, "You won't know luxury until you experience it." Please welcome Chef Greg Taylor. Welcome, Chef.
Hi, how you doing?
Great. So I will say at the start, man, I want you to relax, have fun with me.
Yeah, for sure.
And speak so the people can hear you, because they want to hear from you, because that's why we're here.
Absolutely.
All right, man. So tell people about yourself, man. Like, how did you get into being a chef in the kitchen? A little bit about yourself, man.
Well, actually, first I want to say thank you for inviting me to your podcast. It's always good to talk about mental health. I'm a huge advocate for that and speak regularly about it. And so I'm appreciative, first and foremost. Second, I don't really like talking about myself too much. But I started cooking because, so let me back up. I always wanted to be a sex therapist.
Really?
I did. But my family is deeply rooted in church and super Christian background. So my dad was kind of like, I don't know what the pastor gonna think type of thing.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, well, it just like the human body connections just always fascinated me. So I was like, well, what am I gonna do? So I think it was like junior year in high school.
Okay.
I wanted to go to school for pharmacy. And I'm like, it's too much math and that. Yeah. So I was looking around. My dad at the time had been a coach and an engineer. And then my mom worked in the kitchen at the Metro Center downtown, which is now the BMO Harris Bank Center. Yeah. But food has always been like a staple in the family. She carried me when she was working at the Metro Center in the kitchen. So I was kind of like born into it. Okay. And so I eventually decided to go to school for culinary arts. And that's how the career kind of kicked off. Yeah. And it just kind of morphed into something what it is now. So okay, that's where the start happened, is in junior year in high school. Okay. And then senior year went through, was class president, did everything that, family wants you to do to make them proud. And then when I got to college, it was just like a whole new experience. So I said, okay, well, let's go there. Yeah. And just started meeting people and connections and networking, and it allowed me to kind of expand my career before I even knew it. Gotcha.
So I'm a person that picks up on a lot of things. So I kind of just go with the flow. And I can't let you pass on saying that right off the back, I wanted to be a sex therapist. Like, it's like, wow, I wasn't expecting that from a chef, right? Like, this was my aspirations to be a sex therapist. But then you also talked about the strictness of the family dynamics. Tell me a little bit about that upbringing. How was that? How many siblings and single parent, father, what? Tell me about that.
So my mom and my dad were never married, but my stepmom, I just had this conversation today actually. My stepmom, even though I call her by her first name, she has been a phenomenal mother in my life. So portion of my life I lived with my mom, and then another portion I lived with my dad, my stepmom. They had my younger sister, who's actually getting married next week.
Yes, she is.
So they had her, but my mom had my older sister. So I only have sisters.
Okay.
As far as strictness, we just, like, my dad allowed us to travel a lot. He took us on trips, even if it was just going to Schaumburg for the weekend and getting a hotel and just having fun that way. We did that.
Okay.
We were outside a lot. We weren't, it's hard to explain because the type of childhood that I had, in my eyes, I had a great childhood.
Okay.
But with a particular ex of mine, she thought I had the worst childhood because the strictness of, we had to be in at a certain time. We couldn't get phone calls after 9 o'clock. Even to this day, I feel kind of weird about even messaging people back on Facebook after 9 p.m. I'm like, oh, they gonna, be upset, so I don't want to do it. But I had a great childhood. The strictness came from them just more. I tell you what, I won't say it was strict. It was, we knew what respect was.
Gotcha.
So it was a respectful household. And I told a friend of mine, the very first time I figured out that I had a curfew was one that I set for myself.
Wow.
Because I was working at Magic Waters, and I was invited to an employee party, like a bonfire. And so it was like 9 o'clock. I was getting ready. It was on the weekend. And I told my dad and my stepmom, they were sitting on the couch. I can see it like it was yesterday. I said, well, I'm getting ready to go to this, party. They was like, okay, cool. Have fun. It wasn't any, And so I left. It was like 9:30 when I left. I came back. I said, this was before cell phones were like, everybody had a cell phone.
Right.
So I came back to the house. I said, well, wait a minute. What time I got to be back? My dad was like, you don't have a curfew? I said, no, I don't think so. They was like, well, what time is the party over? I said, I don't know. I ain't never hung out with these people. And so he was just like, well, just be in at a decent hour.
Wow.
So I came back like at 11:45. And ever since then, I'm just in home.
So are you a homebody?
I'll say it this way. The type of career that I had in Vegas and in California, I've done everything under the sun. So now I'm happy with being at home.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like I don't need to be at the bars, at the clubs or anything. Like, I'm happy with being in the house.
So you've had 13 years of practice though, right? Of being out there.
So longer than that, but I'm like, I'm cool with, staying at home.
Gotcha.
I can watch a movie every night. I watch Golden Girls every night before I go to bed. Okay. Me and my dad used to watch that, when I was a kid, and so I just grew up continuing to watch it.
So how did your upbringing influence your passion for cooking?
It really, I just saw how people reacted to good food, and how they reacted to nasty food. And it was always funny either way. Okay. Because you taste something good, you just do a whole bunch of gestures. Act a certain way. But if you taste something nasty, it's just like, ooh, now we gonna clown whoever made the potato salad. Right. So it was just the kitchen has always been like the nucleus of my family. It's always been the core. And my grandmother cooked on both sides, well, all sides, including my stepmom's mother. Everybody just cooked. And as a kid, I was never told to get out the kitchen. Like all my other cousins and stuff, they still hate it to this day, but my granny always pulled me closer when she would tell everybody else to get out of the kitchen. Wow. And I never knew what that meant because they wouldn't let me help do anything. But then my grandfather was the one that baked all the cakes. My grandfather taught me how to sew. Okay. He just taught me how to survive. And the cooking just kind of happen naturally.
How does that translate your mindset in today's society where men don't cook, men don't sew, men don't bake, they don't do that kind of stuff?
It's an issue for me because a lot of things that I was made fun of growing up because I would have a starter jacket on or Reeboks or something like that because I didn't have the Jordans. I didn't have, what society told us black men to wear or what we had to support. My dad never put that type of value on material things. It was more family, it was experiences, and I instilled the same thing in my daughter today. And she's only 4, but the influence now that people have with trying to be popular or not knowing how to survive as far as cooking, they just look at it as being soft or a woman's role or a gender specific role. And I just think it's crazy. I think it's crazy because the career that I've had, I've done everything from food styling for commercials, for television, for cookbooks, for magazines. I've been featured over 18 times in different publications. I've done stuff behind the scenes for Food Network. I've traveled all over the country just speaking about food itself on huge platforms. And it's created this lifestyle pre-divorce, but it created a lifestyle that I was like, this is something that I could really, retire from. And I just enjoy it.
How does a young black man from Rockford, Illinois, cook and plan events for Barack Obama, President Barack Obama, Nancy Pelosi, Michelle Williams, Rihanna? How does that happen?
I can't even answer that because it was always word of mouth. It was always in the right place at the right time type of thing. I'll tell you, the when I was in California, that bio was just a short list of celebrities that I would see at parties or that would invite me to their home or invite me on trips or be able to travel with them. Of course, I would cook sometimes, but not all the time. And it was a lifestyle that I'm happy I saw, because I understand when you see in social media or you see in media period about how people just lose their minds in California or in the limelight when they're in the spotlight. It's just like tough. I've seen it firsthand. I've seen celebrities crack. I've seen them over in the corner doing lines. Like, I've seen all of that. I could write a whole book, a TV series, all of that stuff about things that I have seen and have experienced. But how I was able to book more and more events is because I was genuine to these people. I didn't judge them. I didn't, put their business out there. And so they saw my heart. Really, is what my grandmother told me. She was like, them people gonna see your heart when she was living. And so that's what they saw. And that's how even still to this day, I'm still getting phone calls about doing different gigs and different assignments.
You not do them now because of your daughter, or why do you not do it now?
It's hard when you have a 4-year-old and you're the majority of the custodial parent. So it's a little difficult, but I even take her with me if I need to travel somewhere, if I need to go somewhere. Like, I own an event center right now, and she's always there. I wanted to show her what the Italians and the Latinos and everyone else, all these other businesses in Rockford, I won't name them because they're not sponsoring this podcast.
Absolutely.
But
y'all hear that?
The different venues of how their kids grew up in the business and take it over and are still doing it to this day. I was like, man, I would love to do that if I ever had a child. And so it wasn't my goal at this age, at 36, to move back to Rockford right now. But when our daughter was maybe about 8 months, maybe we moved back to Rockford because COVID had just kicked off, and it was just a lot easier to come back.
Okay. So let me ask you this then. This show is about culture, community, and mental health. In what way have the community and your culture shaped the way you use food as a comfort or as a escape for people? And what way has that shaped you?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a very transparent person. I don't bite my tongue when it comes to certain things because I feel as though it's educating someone.
Okay.
When I wrote my first cookbook, the publisher that I spoke with said, "This will never sell in your community." And I said, "Well, why do you say that?" He said, "Greg, I'm not trying to be rude or mean or anything like that, but it'll never sell in your own community because," this is a white guy telling me this.
Yeah.
He said, "Because black people have this mindset that you can't cook better than their grandma or their auntie or their cousin or whoever, so they'll never support you.
Yeah.
You'll get more support from people that look like me," this is a white guy, "than people that look like you."
Wow.
And I wasn't offended by that. I was more so offended by my own people because he was right. And I looked at it and I said, I never realized how much I heard that growing up in my career. Let me taste these greens. They ain't like my auntie greens.
Right.
Like your auntie 97 years old. She got about 80 years on me. I can't. But she been cooking greens since she was 2.
Right,
like I can't, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
of course she has that time that she's learned how to do things, learn different seasonings. You'll never be a great chef on the first dish that you make.
Okay.
It comes with tasting, trial and error, trial and error, trial and error. So there's things that I'm still learning how to cook, but that I cook often. A friend of mine hit me up and was like, "Can you like send me the recipe to your chicken Alfredo?" And I'm like, that was just me in the kitchen messing around. And honestly, I didn't have any heavy cream. So I just used a bunch of butter.
Gotcha.
And so it turned into something that was popular that people liked. My cheesecakes, people love those. I didn't know how to make one because it was a quick fire challenge in culinary school. And so I just used what was in the refrigerator and it turned out to be one of my best sellers whenever I sell it. Okay. So it's just, the community has shaped who I am as a chef, not necessarily in a good way, but in a more learning opportunity way, because now I know I should not, and I tell people, all of my students, don't just cater to one demographic, because if you rely on that one demographic, if you rely on everybody on your block, you'll never know what's across the street because you stay on your own block. Wow. And it's hard to get that across to certain people because, oh no, my granny, yeah, but that's your granny. She gonna always, love and support you, but this person down the street that's on the same side as you,
right?
Some people in our own community will see that you're trying to get across the tracks and will stop that. Will try their best to stop that. So
it sounds like you saying that there is always opposition even when you're trying to do good.
Oh yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh yeah, there's definitely that. Just think about how many people that we have elected into office on the local level that have told you about a grant or something that came down the pipeline. How many grants have you heard about in the last 2 weeks?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Where there's grants and money that has to be spent in our communities every single year. Millions of dollars, even in the educational system. We don't hear about those.
Yeah.
This facility, it's a beautiful space. I don't know, what all happens here, but this is a dope after school hangout spot.
Right.
There's at least 10 grants for after school programs.
Right. So not only are you a chef, but you know the inner workings of funding.
I had to, because the people that I was cooking for, you will literally hear more than what you want to hear when you serving people.
Gotcha.
And I never understood why I always go back to my grandmother because she was very influential in my life. My grandfather, my aunts, my uncles, everyone, they have always said it pays to be quiet sometimes.
Wow. And
so even now when I'm serving, I'm quiet. And I tell my staff, you don't need to talk to them, just serve them.
Yeah. Because
you almost want to be invisible. You learn a lot more when you're invisible. And I hear about different grants. I've done things for President Obama, President Biden, Vice President Harris, Hillary Clinton, Nancy Pelosi, like a bunch of political people. I've done private lunches with them that no one knew about at all. Like sneak into town, into Chicago, and meet with the person I was working for. They wouldn't even know anything. Like the news, no one knows that they're there.
Yeah.
These people have created how America is going to run for the next 20 years. Yeah. It's not just one election.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not to turn this into a political
thing. No. You keep going. No.
You learn a lot when you're serving.
Yeah.
Everybody want to be, the star and want to have the microphone, but when you serve, you learn a lot. Even if it's not on a high political level like that, you can serve some pastors or something. And if you putting the plate down, on the table, and they holding the conversation. Now, I don't want nobody to not hire me because
no, make sure you hire. Make sure you hire.
You think I'm gonna tell your business? You see, I ain't saying nothing.
He ain't saying nothing. But go ahead.
But you do hear a lot.
Yeah,
you hear a lot.
I got it.
So that's where I learned about funding and different people, and I'm like, I need to hit this person up or that person up. So
gotcha. So let's shift into talk about some mental health things. How do you think your early life has been impacted by mental health?
Early life, it wasn't talked about.
Okay.
For me, it wasn't talked about. We always had that one cousin who was just over the top, and my granny would be like, "Stop acting crazy," or "Get somewhere, sit down, talking crazy."
Yeah.
And then I would always be that kid that would kind of like watch certain people. I'm very observant.
Okay.
And I would watch certain people like, no, they're not just acting. There's something that they can't control. Excuse me. And it was difficult because I was like, am I okay? And so it was always like covered up.
Yeah.
It was never something that you talk about. A therapist, going to sit on somebody's couch,
right?
A shrink or whatever,
right?
We grew up thinking that was something that, honestly, only rich white people did.
True.
It was never something that we realized could help us be better people. It's at least 10 people I know right now that if a therapist could have unlocked their potential, they would be in far better positions. Even myself.
Gotcha.
I would have made better decisions on people that I've been with or business relationships that I've had. A lot of things could have changed or could have went differently had I have just listened to the other side of what we thought was the dark side or taboo,
Yeah. Hindsight, looking back at it now, and we're not going to turn this into a therapy session, but I'm just going to straight up ask you.
Yeah.
Like, do you feel that you deal with any childhood trauma or anything of that nature?
I'm very open with it. I did not personally experience any childhood traumas.
Okay.
But I've had cousins who I have seen, when they talk about it, it kind of unlocks a memory. Like, I did see that, why were we there? Or I do remember that smell. Or, even when I'm cooking, I can remember certain things triggered from a smell.
Yeah.
Like, for example, there's a memory, and I won't go too deep into it for the sake of time, but there's a memory that I have, and this person's home always smelled like, you know what ham smells like before you take it out of the oven, like it's like almost sweet, but like a peppery.
I hadn't eaten ham in years, so I can't recall.
So it just has this sweating smell to it, like the skin is sweating, which it is.
Okay.
And this particular person's home always smelled like that. And so when I was cooking a ham, it triggered a memory that a cousin had told me about years ago, and I was like, wow. That was true. So different things like that have happened with food or a song. If I hear a song, I hate the song Return of the Mac because I remember a friend of mine, we were at Sand Park Pool up the street, and that song was on, and someone had violated her.
Wow.
And every time I hear that song, I think about that.
Okay.
So, it's just...
Does it take you to some places? What does it take you?
I would say for me, it where I am right now, it doesn't take me to a bad place. It takes me to let me check on them, or let me, check on myself, or check in with myself. Because I have a great therapist now.
Good.
But I only got the therapist because it started off as marriage counseling, and this particular person I was married to never showed up to any of the sessions. And so now it transformed into just counseling for myself, which is awesome.
Really good.
But I had a therapist when I was in California, and that therapist officially told me that I was depressed. I had depression, and I battled with depression. And I've never hidden that.
Okay.
So back then, it would take me to a place if a memory would pop up, like, I don't want to, deal with that. But now, I sit and unpack, and I'm calling, asking questions. Why you leave us with? I need to know. You know what I mean? Because I'm super protective of my child now, and I feel as though people would be better parents if they sat down with a therapist, find out why your childhood was the way it was, and realize that it was not your fault.
Do you think that played a part in your divorce? Your childhood, her childhood, not understanding.
Oh yeah. So I'll tell you exactly what someone told me. There's a difference between being raised by love and survival. And that's all I'm gonna say on that. Okay. Because that tells so much.
Nature versus nurture.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That tells so much. And I also heard someone say fight or flight.
Yeah.
Yep. And that made so much sense when I heard it too in my situation. And my divorce was 2023 was literally the worst year of my life.
Okay.
Mentally. Okay. Because I'm such a giver and a protector and a provider. Because that's what I saw my dad do. Okay. He made sure things were taken care of at home. He made sure, my stepmom never reached in her purse. My mom was always a hard worker, so they provided for us. My sisters and I, superbly. Like, it was just, I couldn't tell you one bad experience as a kid. Right. Now, everyone has those days, but there was a huge difference in how we were raised. But because I listened to how I was brought up, I didn't know how to help her unpack the whatever she had going on. Okay. You know what I mean? Okay. Even listening to certain things and showing up for her, I take full responsibility for that, because I thought me providing was enough. Up. Yeah. I thought me, bringing you flowers, or I thought me paying for the meal or giving you the bag that you wanted or the shoes that you wanted, I thought that was enough. And it wasn't, because, it was appreciated, but was it really? Because I wasn't really listening. Hey, I need you to just come and sit down and talk. I was going to say,
were you not present with her?
Because I was always working.
Okay.
So I was like, if I'm at work, we were living in Rockford. I would get up at about 5:30 in the morning to get on the highway to drive to Chicago, be at work by 9. Okay, then get off around 4:30, 5 o'clock, be back at home at 8, and basically put my check on the table type of thing. Yeah, yeah. So it was just like, I thought this was what I was supposed to be doing. Yeah. Not realizing, which I later found out in counseling, that no, she wanted someone to show her appreciation, or to listen to her, because my ex-wife is a huge neat freak. I absolutely hate folding clothes. I love washing clothes, but I'm not folding nothing. Like, I'm just not doing it, because I feel like I'm gonna iron it anyway. Okay. I could just take it out of the clean laundry basket, iron it, which is already in the laundry room.
And
put
Greg,
it on.
You can't do that, Greg.
And it was just, I'm like, she was like, you can't have all this stuff here. And I'm tired of, I'm like, but nobody comes back here. This is our laundry room. Yeah. Who cares? Yeah. But I didn't realize that was her piece, coming to a clean, organized home. I didn't realize that. Yeah. And so I felt as though that played a part in me pushing her away, type of thing. She had also said a few times, you put more into your work than you do our relationship.
Yeah.
I didn't realize what that meant, because I'm like, well, because of my work, we're able to take these trips and, not have to worry about anything. But again, I was raised by a provider, but I never asked questions growing up. Now I know my stepmom was the one that was taking care of the bills at home. My dad would bring the money, and she would organize things, and they just had a partnership.
Yeah.
And I never
developed that partnership.
Yeah, never developed that.
But it's not until tragedy happens where you realize that the partnership was never there.
Right.
I think there's a balance that couples and marriages need to try to strike, because at the end of the day, a husband cannot be at home as much as he wants to, because he does have to provide. Right. But then in turn, the woman has to find some balance as well, to find a way to sit with themselves, so they don't have to require so much of him.
Yeah.
Because if you want him to stay home with you, then you guys are going to be trying to survive again instead of thriving.
Right.
And so there's a balance that needs to be struck at that point.
Right.
So tell me about your depression, man. Like, this all transpired. This sent you into a depression.
So it sent me into a depression because I was confused. I'm like, I thought I was doing everything I was supposed to do.
Okay.
And the reason why why she wanted a divorce, again, I'm very transparent, is because I was emotionally unfaithful to her. And I say that because I didn't cheat on her, like, physically.
Yeah.
But, I confided in a friend I have known for like over 25 years, venting to this friend, because I was on the highway a lot, and I'm like, I can't do nothing right, and I feel like a single dad sometimes, and a lot of words that hurt her, that hurt her feelings. But then it was just kind of like, well, I've been all about you for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
You never checked on me, like, hey, check to make sure I'm good. So it was just like, my friend that I grew up with, who I was never attracted to or anything like that, we would have kitchen table talk. We talking about other people. We just our banter back and forth had always been like that since we were kids. Before we even knew what we were saying, we were talking like that. And so my wife had found these messages. It was actually on my Facebook. Out of all places, I'm like,
social media, right?
But you had all my passwords and it wasn't like I was trying to hide anything.
Right.
But it was just like, in the beginning, I didn't realize that the words had hurt her. Because at that time, I'm like, well, you have done far worse things to me. And you have said way worse that I haven't even told her that I know about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm like, we can work this out. We can figure this out. She was like, nah, you need to get out.
I'm listening to you. Do you think that she was already checked out, Greg?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she was. But again, I did not realize what that looked like, because I thought I was doing everything by the book. I thought I was doing everything right, because she's a lot younger than me.
Okay.
She wanted to go out. She wanted to, go to the clubs and the bars and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm cool with being a dad. Like, I'm all right with being at home.
Right.
But in the beginning, she wanted me to come out with her. But then after a while, it was like, you can stay at home.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? I'll go out. And I started to not like that, because I'm like, it's 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Ain't nothing open in Rockford after that.
That's true.
So I'm like, what's up? So I knew she had checked out, because one morning I was home and she was getting ready to leave and go to work, and she didn't kiss me goodbye, or she didn't come and say she didn't respond back when I said I love you.
Yeah.
It was like, I was like, huh? And I said it out loud, and it looked like it was a burden to say I love you back.
Right.
So I knew right then she had checked out.
Gotcha.
But I didn't, I told my therapist, when you notice, when a person's, all their flags are red, you don't notice anything different. But this particular time, I'm like, that's something that I, should pay attention to.
Yeah.
And after that, the arguments happened, and, still absolute love of my life. Because I felt bad. To get back to answering your question, the depression came on heavy because I realized that I hurt this person that was already hurting.
Yeah.
And I'm not that type of person. I'm not going to kick a person when they down.
Right.
So I'm like, it tore me up, because I'm like, as much as I love my daughter, and I absolutely love being a dad. If I could get paid to be a dad, I'd be the richest person in the world.
I get it.
But the fact that I hurt her mother in this way when she was already hurting, and everyone else in her life has hurt her and has done her wrong, has left her, has, just abused her emotionally in a way that was different than me coming up and how I was raised. That depressed me. Were
there any premarital counseling or anything like that, Greg? Because the reason why I asked that is because I think that we don't do enough of being honest going into marriage about our backgrounds, the things we've dealt with. Because there's a vulnerability in that, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to, I don't know we're about to get married, but I'm not going to tell you what happened to me at this point. Like, were there any premarital counseling?
It wasn't necessarily premarital counseling. It was relationship counseling.
Okay.
That we did. It was during COVID. We did do counseling, but I was just kind of like, I was still stuck in that mindset. Like, I've done counseling before. I'm not doing it again. Like, I don't think, because Doc, when I tell you, our arguments were so stupid. Like,
I agree.
We would argue over what we eating for dinner.
Yeah.
Or the laundry. You know what I'm saying? Not being folded. It wasn't dirty. It just wasn't folded.
Yeah.
We would argue over stuff like that. And so I'm like, we don't need to go to counseling for that. But I didn't realize, which, and I'll probably get backlash for saying this, but I didn't realize that could have possibly been her way of saying, I need to, I want to unload all of this childhood, whatever I went through. That's her story to tell.
Right.
But whatever I went through as a kid, I want to get rid of this and enjoy life.
Yeah. And
so I was being selfish, like, I'm not going to, I'm not going to do that. So we did go to counseling. I liked the counselor. I don't think she really cared for her too much, because for some reason we stopped. I think the counselor couldn't make an appointment. She couldn't, she had to cancel. And so then after that, my ex was just like, I'm not, I don't need to go. So then it just kind of fell off.
Yeah.
So not specifically premarital counseling, but we did do relationship counseling. And it was not, I felt like the lady was taking too long to get to the meat and potatoes. I'm like, look, put that salad down. Like,
you were rushing it, huh?
Yeah, I'm like, let's get to what's really going on. Because I'm like, man,
you want to fix your marriage, right?
Yeah, I'm like, I'm trying to, at the time I was trying to prove a point that I didn't need counseling. But then again, I'll never forget it. She was emotional in this one particular session, and the counselor was like, Greg, you're not even consoling her. Like, you're not even hugging her. Because when I tell you, if you have ever met my ex-wife, she is the most stern, stone face, stone wall, like, emotionless. Like, she's not going to show you her weaknesses at all.
Okay.
And so I'm not knowing how to react to her crying,
because you never had
like,
to.
So I'm thinking, is this for real, or are you putting on so we can hurry up and finish, or like, what's going on?
Wow.
What really was happening is that it was unlocking and it was coming out, and I should have, pried it and jumped in. All of this stuff I know now. Yeah. That's why I say I felt like we could have worked out everything if we just got a professional involved and we were both open.
Gotcha.
And so by that time it was too late.
Well, it sounds like you've learned a lot.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to bode well moving into the next relationship.
Yeah.
You know, being there for a person, being present. I think a lot of times we get caught up in all the other things that's happening around us, could be distractions, and the thing that's right in front of us, we're just missing out on.
Yeah.
So, man, well, I'm glad you're actually doing the work now.
Yeah. And a lot of people say that. I have my days. The first thing my therapist told me going in was that it's going to be a roller coaster. I'm able to share this on a public platform now because I had to own my story and own my involvement in this. I am still healing. I'm still doing the work. I have a long way to go because I still can't, even if she texts me or something like that, I'll see her name come across the screen and get irritated because she has moved on with her life.
Oh.
And people is like, oh, you can't be bitter. And I kind of feel like, yeah, you have a right to be upset about something. You have a right to be bitter about things because if you invested so much into something and that return is not what you thought it was going to be, you have a right to feel how you feel. That's your emotion. That's how you feel.
Of course.
No one can change that.
Of course.
Even being a creative person, I can't work, I can't sleep. I couldn't, I was still eating, but it was just like weight was up and down. And I'm like, I have to figure this. I got to navigate.
So it actually hurt you to see her move on.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie about that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm not going to get into more details about that, but why wouldn't it? This is someone who you absolutely love, who you created a child with.
Yeah.
I was, 31 when we had our daughter? I went 31 years from living in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yeah.
From living in Beverly Hills and going to all them parties and partying and turning up and all of that, all this time. But the child came with you.
Yeah.
When you were told you couldn't have children, I was told it wouldn't be easy for me to have kids because of an accident that people still don't know about.
Gotcha.
So it's like this miracle child came literally out of nowhere. I'm like, that to me is enough to want to fix something and work something out. But that's not where, she is. It's not where I am. And I'm learning to accept that.
Okay.
And I'm going to take my time doing it because, again, it's my life. It's my story. It's my, pain that I have to deal with and have to figure out how to get out of this wilderness almost.
Does your cooking come by way of healing and expression?
No.
Okay.
I actually don't cook at home at all.
Really?
Yeah, no, I don't, because again, my grandmother always told me, don't give your gifts away for free.
Wow.
So even family, if anyone asks me to cook, you paying me.
Okay.
Because that's something that I love doing, but it's also providing for me and my family. However, when I do cook and I cook for someone, I offer to cook for them, it's for real coming from the heart.
Okay.
So I want you to feel that. I don't want to just be that person that they always ask to cook and they do it. I don't want to do that. I want you to know that when I genuinely want to get in the kitchen and do something for you, it's for you. It's not for money. It's not for clout. It's not for anything like that. I've been in some of the most beautiful kitchens in the world.
Okay.
I've been in some of the smallest kitchens in the world. But I'm doing this because I want you to enjoy it or you to experience what I can do.
So your cooking, you don't do any cooking just to decompress, get away from it all, just to really just
No, because
relax.
cooking is work to me.
It is a lot of work.
Cooking is work. It's, now I will do it to make others happy and to heal others because I put passion into my work. Like I work hard. You don't just show up to your sessions with your clients.
Right.
Just be like,
Right.
No, you for real put in that work
You do.
so that they can get healing from whatever you,
Right.
you know,
Right.
how you're helping them put the pieces together.
Yeah.
people think that a therapist is going to solve all your problems.
Thank you.
No, my therapist just helps me put the
pieces together, right? Like this chessboard, right?
All the pieces are there.
Yeah.
But you're just helping me put them back in place.
Yeah.
I'm moving them myself, but you're helping me put them there. And some people don't want to do that work.
Yeah.
Some days I don't want to do the work.
Yeah.
But I've been with my therapist. I've been going once a week since March 16th, 2023.
Man, congratulations.
So,
thank you.
And she's an amazing person. I see her frequently, even outside the office, at different events and stuff. But when we're in that office, she is so professional and just like, there's no judgment, so I can unload. But it'd be sometimes I might be at Walmart and I'm like, you ain't gonna say nothing, are you?
Right.
I'm with that person right now. But hey, how y'all doing?
Yeah.
Like she don't even know me.
Yeah.
And and just keep it moving. But I think more people need to go and talk to someone, a professional, because the healing is so amazing. It's some tools that I've used from my sessions where I'm like just anxious and high on anxiety and I can't keep anything down and I just can't sleep. And then I just realized it's not your fault. That person is not you. They're not going to do things the way that you do them. Let it go. And that's what I've done.
What was the one thing that inspired you to go to therapy? Because a lot of people, it's hard to go, even start the process. And as much depression you've dealt with, and all the other uncertain emotions and feelings, what was that one thing that says, Greg, get up and go?
It was because I wanted to fix my marriage.
Okay.
I wanted to save my marriage.
Okay.
I'm the type of guy, you date me, I will sit and figure out how can I conquer the world so I can give it to her.
Man.
You see what I'm saying?
I like that.
Like I tell people all the time, you with me, I'm with you. I will support you no matter if you want to sell oranges on the side of the highway. I'm going to pick them for you.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how serious it was. I feel like success has a vengeance to catch up with me and to you know what I'm saying? So I don't want to just share that with any old body. And so I wanted to, of course, share my life with my wife. And it was just like, how can I conquer the world so I can just prove to you that I'm in full support of what you're doing?
Yeah.
And I'm here for you so I can give it to you. And that was something that I had to, it was debilitating to think deep into that because I'm like, you did all of that.
Doesn't that scare you moving forward into a new relationship? Because you're going to have to give the same amount of energy or more?
No, it doesn't scare me at all.
Okay.
I'm actually excited about who God has for me.
Yeah.
Like for real. Because I feel like, because I met her at church, so I'm like, okay, well, this must have been you, God. But everybody in church ain't really in church. Not saying that about my ex. I'm just saying everybody in church should not be there. There's some pastors that needed a background check before they got that job. I'm just going to leave that on the table too.
Okay.
But I am excited about love. I'm excited about where it's going to take me. And I'm listening to God more in conversations and dealing with certain people. And I'll be honest with you, even though my other half has moved on and is, living her life, I have not been on not one date, not because I didn't want to. Like I want to, experience more life and just like, I want to answer some of them DMs because you being a chef. Listen,
you cook, you got them.
When you a chef and a single dad. Oh, these women just they think they hit the jackpot. I get looks when I'm taking her to the mall, and I'm like, "Why are you staring?" And it was one of my boys that was sitting with me. He was like, "Bruh, she
Yeah.
Cause you got your daughter with you. I'm like, but I'm here with my daughter, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just always been like that, but I have just had no desire. It was one young lady that I was like, well, we'll have lunch. And I canceled like an hour before. Cause it didn't feel right. I'm like, I don't have that feeling for, her anymore, but to move to someone new, I'm like, nah,
but I think you do know what you want though.
Oh yeah, for
and
sure.
and I think that calls for pause too. Like, okay,
Sure.
I'm not just going to do anything. I'm not going to jump out and date anybody.
Right.
So,
but I give my ex so much respect.
Okay.
Whether she believes it or not, I want her to win. I want her to thrive because when you win, our daughter wins. I got my daughter here right now with us.
Yes, she is.
And I want her to have the best childhood possible. I want her to go to Disney. I want her to go to the moon. Like, I want her to just experience life. If it's a art exhibit or something, her mom takes her to it, I can't wait to ask her which was her favorite piece or what colors does she like the most. I'm that dad that's bringing cupcakes to school. Their career day is next week. I'm, going to get aprons and chef hats for all the kids at the whole school. It's like, I love doing that type of stuff. Yeah. So out of this depression, out of this divorce, out of this breakup, we can build with all those bricks that fell apart. I can build a new foundation. Like, okay, I want someone that's going to show up and help me in this area. I want someone that's going to open up and allow me to help them in that area. I can rebuild something else, with all those bricks. Like, don't just, there's no construction company that will knock down a building and won't use that gravel for something else.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying? To build something stronger. They'll break those bricks down and build something else.
Yeah.
They're not going to waste it. What landfill got a ton of bricks in it?
Right. They're
going to reuse it. So it's the same thing with this relationship. Yes, I'm mad. Yes, I'm, still hurt because I hurt her. But at the same time, I'm looking at it like, you know what? I know what to look for now. I know which red flags to notice. I hope she does, the same as with me to notice what red flags to look out for or whatever. And whoever I not end up with, but begin with, it's going to be the best.
Have you healed enough or started the healing process enough to give someone the best part of you?
I've started the process, and that's continuing to go to therapy. Even on days, I'm telling you, it's sometimes I can't get out of bed. When I don't have her, like when she's with her mom, I can't get out of bed.
Really?
I'll find myself 3 o'clock in the morning driving around Rockford. Because I can't sleep. I don't have my child next to me.
So your anxiety of her not being present with you.
Right. Because it's like, I'm such a protector. I'm telling you. Yeah. That's why the hurt is so great. Because I'm like, I couldn't have been this bad in our marriage. Because it's just like certain things that other women, other people would just kill for. Yeah. And I'm like, you just letting it go? Yeah. So the confusion comes. My therapist says that you're in the stage of acceptance. Like you have to accept that she don't want you
in your
anymore.
grieving process, right?
That's not what she wants. She may want something totally different. Yeah. And so I'm like, if that's the case, then I just got to deal with it. But I'm mad that certain stores not open 24 hours no more because I'm like, it's no food spots open 24 hours because I be up. Wow. I have seen every Die Hard movie, every Harry Potter movie, like watching movies. So to answer your question earlier, what do I do to decompress? I go to the movies a lot. Okay. I'll go to a movie. Every job I've been fired from, I'll go straight to the movies and catch a movie. And I'll feel hyped up and energized again, and I'll find another job within like a week. Wow. I don't know what the movies do to me, but that's what I enjoy the most, is just going to the movies. So not being with my child, and this is probably the first time I'm able to talk about it at this point without crying.
Yeah.
But not being with her, it's not because I'm worried that her mom is gonna, harm her or she's gonna be in a bad situation, but because I just know how my child is and how impatient she can be, because she is from me.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't want to use her as a security blanket or like a, I can't remember the Charlie Brown kid that used to have the blanket. Linus, I think it was.
Yeah.
Would always, she's not my security blanket.
Okay.
I don't want her to have that image.
Right.
I just love being a dad. And a lot of times, because I don't have another job as far as in the personal life, when your dad duties stop, it's almost like, well, what do I do? Because I don't have a girlfriend.
Right.
Most of my guy friends live in Texas, Atlanta, California.
You're back to being alone.
I'm like alone.
Yeah. And
so what do I do?
Yeah.
And that's when the depression is like, hey, how you doing, Greg?
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
we gonna kick it tonight. You know what I'm saying? We gonna chill. And so I'm still trying to figure out how to get beyond that and how to heal from that. But it's difficult. And a lot of people say, well, I'm working on. No, this is hard.
Yeah.
It's very hard.
Yeah. Do you take medication, Red?
I don't. And my therapist has suggested it, but I don't even take aspirin.
Gotcha.
Because it's just like, I don't, I've seen what it has done to people. Even in my professional life, I've seen what medication can do.
Yeah.
So, and it's so funny because my ex is in the pharmacy field. So she knows every time I'll call her, like, what kind of, but I am thinking about it, but then I'm also like, well, it's a personal decision.
It is.
If I want to do it, I'll do it.
It is.
I want to be the best for my child. That's just how it is. I don't share her a lot on social media because it's just some weird people out there.
Of course it is.
Her mom doesn't share her at all, but because, the followers that she has are just there for a totally different reason. And that's an agreement that we have always, come to. Yeah. But as far as, her mothering and being a mom, it's just like, the child is going to be okay. But what got me out of the depression, and I'm going to say this, and I know it's going to offend some people, but I said I cannot leave this earth because I can't leave her with certain people.
Okay, that's real.
And I'll just leave it at that.
No, that's real.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
Now, people are afraid to talk about suicide
Yeah.
and talk about that side of depression.
Yeah.
I am open with it.
Gotcha.
Suicide seemed like the easiest option.
It always does.
It seemed like the best and the easiest option, but I'm such a planner. I'm like, I can't have this person speak at my funeral. I don't want them talking.
Right.
So I'm like, I gotta, because I have everything written out of how I want my service to go.
Yeah. As you live your life, not as you complete suicide.
Yeah, as I live my life.
Yeah.
But because my younger sister has access to it, so she knows I don't want this person talking. For real, I don't want that person talking. If people get on social media, I just talked to him yesterday, please post my phone log.
Yeah.
Because I don't like liars.
Gotcha.
I don't like people, trying to jump on something because they want the clout or,
Yeah.
I just talked to him yesterday. No, you didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
No, you didn't.
Right.
So by the time I got done with writing everything out, I fell asleep. So I was like, okay, I'm cool.
Yeah.
But no, I encourage people to seek help.
Yeah.
Get with somebody that's going to not judge you.
Yeah.
I can say get with somebody that looks like you so they can understand your cultural background. Because it's not enough Black therapists out there.
Yeah.
But then we're also not utilizing the ones that we do have.
That's true. Thank you for saying that.
So a lot of them feel like, oh, well, I know him from the block growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he went to school and learned some things from other people.
Right.
You were still on the block.
Yeah.
So him coming back can help you get off the block.
Man, you preaching. You preaching.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a mental thing, and I'm big on that. I tell people all the time, seek help, because I didn't at first. I didn't I'm like, I'm trying to save my marriage, when really God, I feel as though God did this to save me. And that's hard to accept.
I get it.
That is, I could get emotional right now. That's really hard to accept, because I'm like, you really allowed my marriage to crumble like this just so I could learn a lesson? What lesson am I learning? And it's not the lesson that you're just learning. It's learning the skills to be able to deal with where I'm taking you. So no one can ever get you in this dark place again. Wow. Every step on the ladder that you take, you don't think about that last step. You think about the next step, because you already conquered those bottom steps.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't come up these stairs like, man, that first step.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like the top. I'm at the top now.
Yeah.
You're not going to think about the steps in the back. You feel what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, I need people to really get that. And it took a long time. I'm still learning, but it took a long time for me I've always been okay with God. Like, we've always had a connection.
Yeah.
I've always been, my discernment has been like on.
Gotcha.
Ever since I was little.
Okay.
Okay. Like, seriously. It's been certain vibes and certain people that I'm just like, you don't need to be around kids, or you don't need to be around this type of group or whatever. And I see it. And a lot of people take that as me being mean, or what does someone say? Arrogant or whatever. It's just like, no, I just know certain people is full of it.
Okay.
And I can read right through that.
Gotcha.
And so it took a while for me to come to God with acceptance of his plan. Because I'm like, this just can't be.
Gotcha.
But as I think about it, I changed it now to, I'm trying to see what you're preparing me for. Because if this over here,
Yeah.
what I just went through,
Yeah.
what I'm still going through, is this serious and this debilitating and this breaking, like, this is breaking point for real.
Yeah.
And you telling me you preparing me for something?
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous about what it is.
Yeah.
But that's the joy out of it, because I don't know if it's something great. You can put me on a new platform, a higher platform. And because you put me on that platform, and what I've learned about not caring about what people think can help me continue to be great over here. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Or even if it's a woman out there who's going through something that I'm going through, or that my wife went through, and I'm being prepared so that I can be her better half, or her, life, or her future. You know what I mean? I could be learning all of these lessons over here for the true test of being with someone that he is pulling through something else. I don't know.
Right.
So that's why I'm excited to find out. I'm excited to see what's ahead.
Well, Greg, man, I have been pleasantly surprised.
This has been great.
I really have, because my idea of coming into this was to talk about your chef and your cooking and the things that you've done in the world, but you gave me your personal life, and I appreciate that.
Which I did not plan on doing.
Yeah, and I appreciate that.
I don't know what the cutting room floor gonna look like, or editing, but
oh no, you good.
I'm like, you might have said a little too much,
but that's what I want. That's what we want.
Yeah.
We want the authentic of you.
Yeah.
We want the authenticity of you, because at the end of the day, if I'm gonna come and visit you at your restaurant, I want to be able to eat food with someone that I know is a human being.
Right.
I want that authentic food, that love that he puts into his food. That's what I want.
Right.
So for people to see this, I want them to see you for who you are.
Yeah.
Of not what they heard or seen somewhere else. I want them to see you for who you are. So,
it wasn't like that, though.
Yeah?
It was not always like that, because I've always been a person that has been hushed, like, don't talk to, don't say too much. I've always been the type of person, or growing up even, where we couldn't share, we couldn't be open, we could not be this free. And my freedom now comes from just taking the weight off my shoulders. for example, a friend of mine called and said, well, so-and-so was talking, who is so-and-so?
Yeah.
And let me get their number.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, I'm gonna put you on two. Like I don't do that he say, she say type of stuff no more. I want to know everything that happened, that was said. I want to know what you said, that type of thing. So also, even with me being as open as I am, it just all kind of came out.
Yeah.
But even with being open, it was not my intention to be this open about my own personal life, but I'm tired.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Like I'm tired of carrying it around.
Gotcha.
When everybody else has their opinion or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like no other opinion matters but my own when it comes to this, because I was there firsthand, know exactly what happened.
Yeah.
I have not been perfect in my marriage. But I want other people to learn, pay attention to your spouse, to your partner. Show up for them.
Do me a favor, Greg. Look in that camera and do exactly what you're doing.
Like, pay attention to your partner. Pay attention to your spouse. Show up for them. If they want the corny picnic in the park, do the picnic in the park. If they want grocery store flowers, bring them grocery store flowers. If they want you to cook once a night, or if they want to do check-ins, do it. Because that moment that you're doing what they want you to do can be added to the lifetime that you guys are going to have together. And you don't want to look back later down the road like me and say, man, I wish I would have just used them 5 minutes to do what she wanted me to do.
Wow. That's that's Chef Greg Taylor, y'all. Thank you, Greg, Chef, for coming on the show, man. I really appreciate it. One more thing as we get ready to close, I want you to tell people where they can follow you, find you, where you're catering from, whatever that you need to tell them right now.
So listen, I just want people to go and get help, and don't look at it as you getting help. Look at it as you bettering yourself. Go and better yourself. Get with the therapist. Get with somebody wherever you are, whatever state, whatever city, whatever country. Just go and get some help. I'ma always be here. It's easy. ChefGregTaylor.com. All social media is the same. But honestly, I came here because I wanted to share something that someone else may have been afraid to share. So go and get help, and just know that somebody loves you and supports you, or else I wouldn't be here.
Chef Greg Taylor. Hey guys, remember we have solicited your comments for the last couple episodes. We want you guys to go into the comment section, leave comments, and also leave resources for anyone that's dealing with domestic violence, violence prevention, gun prevention, all those things. Please leave resources so we can pass that on during our episodes. We want to help someone, just like Chef Taylor is saying here today. You know, there may be someone that needs help, need a therapist. If you know any therapists, put them in the comment. Anybody that could help, any resources by way of positive support for our people. And I want to thank you guys. Make sure you guys follow me on all platforms, Mentality Unchained. And as I always say when I close, we all have the ability to change our circumstances, only if we focus on what we can change. Thank you for joining us, and we're out.